Whether you just need a quick refresher of the top seeds or you have no idea who they are, my name is Josiah with Fanco Wrestling to give you the complete rundown on the top 2 seeds at every single weight heading into the national championships. Let's stop stalling and start talking about 125 pounds with Nick Suriano and Vito Araujo. Suriano, no, not of Rutgers, no, not of Penn State, of Michigan, after transferring in this year, is the number 1 seed at the weight, having an undefeated season so far, although he hasn't faced any of the top 5 seeds this season. The number 2 seed is Vito Araujo of Cornell, who's coming off a pretty good win over another one of the top 5 seeds in Pat Glory of Princeton. At 133 is Roman Bravo Young and Dayton Fix. You see their heads right here, and should they make the finals again this year, it will be a rematch of last year's finals. Fix has already made 2 finals in the past. He's lost to Nick Suriano, and he lost to Roman Bravo Young last year. RBY, the number 1 seed, the undefeated guy at the weight, has his best win over Austin DeSanto, the number 5 seed. Fix also has a win over Austin DeSanto, and I'd love to see this Penn State and Oklahoma State final happen again. At 141, Nick Lee and Jaden Ironman. Again, this could be another rematch should these top 2 seeds both make the finals. Ironman of Iowa, Nick Lee of Penn State. This is a big team points implications for this matchup if this does happen. So Nick Lee beat Jaden Ironman earlier this season. He's undefeated on the year, and Ironman has just 1 loss on the year, and that is to Nick Lee. At 149, Yanni Diakomahalis and Tariq Wilson, number 1 and number 2 seed. Yanni, another Cornell finalist. Tariq Wilson, the first of the NC State number 2 seeds. I shouldn't say finalist, I should say number 1 seed. He could make the finals unless some crazy upset happens. Now, Tariq and Yanni have not met in this season yet. Yanni has some good wins on the year. Tariq has some good wins on the year as well. But this, if Yanni does end up winning and earning that number 1 seed, this will be his 3rd national title that he's won, setting us up potentially for next year to see 2 4-timers, especially and Yanni, should everything align the way that wrestling fans want it to. At 157 pounds, David Carr of Iowa State and Ryan Deacon of Northwestern. David Carr made the finals last year and won the finals in a huge way at 157 pounds. Ryan Deacon was the favorite to win it last year, but didn't end up making the finals. Now, if this does happen, what's interesting here is this number 1 and number 2 seed. These two haven't met in a few years. And actually, David Carr's last loss is to Ryan Deacon. David Carr has one of the longest winning streaks in all of the NCAA. His last loss is to Ryan Deacon from a couple years ago. So I'd love to see that number 1 and number 2 matchup happen. At 165, this is one of the most bonkers, wild, crazy weights at the championships this year. Evan Wick is one of 2 undefeated guys at this weight. O'Toole is also undefeated. He has not wrestled Keegan O'Toole yet of Mizzou, but Evan Wick, having transferred from Wisconsin to now being at Cal Poly this year, has had a win, 2 wins this year, 3 wins actually, over Shane Griffith of Stanford, setting him up for, a pretty primed NCAA tournament run. But Keegan O'Toole, just as a young guy, he is set up also for a pretty good run should he end up making it to the finals and gaining a lot of that momentum. At 174 pounds, number 1 Carter Starachi, number 2 Mekhi Lewis. Starachi is a returning finalist from last year at, in my opinion, the toughest weight at this tournament. He won it last year. Starachi of Penn State, being one of Penn State's 4 champions last year. Mekhi Lewis of Virginia Tech is a former champion himself back in 2019 at 165 pounds. Could we see him make a return to the finals and end up winning that title over Starachi? That'll be an exciting matchup. At 184, Miles Amin, number 1, and number 2, Aaron Brooks. These two just wrestled at the Big Ten Championships. They also wrestled in a dual meet this season. Miles Amin of Michigan is wrestling not only in his home state, but now he's wrestling in that home arena in Detroit for this national championships. Aaron Brooks is just coming off that loss to Miles Amin, but will be looking to get that back. That's his only loss on the year, only loss in a couple years that he's actually had. At 197 pounds, Maxine, I said he's not undefeated. He has that 1 loss on the year to Cam Caffey. Stephen Buchanan this year has 1 loss to last year's national champion and AJ Ferrari. Of course, we know AJ Ferrari is not wrestling in this year's championships, so we got the number 1 and number 2 seed of Penn State and Wyoming. that'll be a fun weight to watch. At 285 pounds, Gable Steveson and Colton Schultz. Gable is the undisputed guy at the weight. Like, nobody seems to be able to touch him this year. He's just that good. Colton Schultz of Arizona State. Maybe he could make something happen here, but he earned that number 2 seed, having a solid season himself. Now, if you're interested in more wrestling videos related to the NCAA Championships, I would recommend that you check out these ones right here. These are great recommendations, and if you're a big wrestling fan, then I know that you're going to enjoy them. Enjoy the national championships.